Okay, we are back to this amazing Centennial Singer 1591, obviously born in the Centennial year back in 1951. And I'll tell you one thing, you've seen up to this point, if you've seen all the other videos, you're saying, what else can Scott possibly show us to demonstrate the strength of this machine? We're convinced, you know, after seeing 3 layers of leather and denim and everything else. Well, I love to demonstrate this canvas binding tape. This stuff is unbelievably thin, and yet because of that Kevlar weave, is unbelievably strong. You can tell by the wrinkle in that material how hard I was just yanking on that. It doesn't tear, it doesn't budge, it doesn't bend, it doesn't do anything. It just stands up to it, which right away tells you the piercing threshold of this material is unbelievably high. And when you're talking about, you know, 1 to 6 layers, that would demonstrate the strength. We're not going to monkey around with something like that. I service my machines to a degree that we go way, way beyond what other 1591s would be able to do. And I finally settled on 14 layers of this canvas binding tape. There's layer number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 layers. Look at that from the side after I group it together, how thick that is. And I'm actually pulling it a little bit. So, I mean, that is the absolute thickness that you're seeing through the camera. And yet, because of the degree of servicing that I do to these machines, watch what our 1591 does with a task that would break other machines and certainly bog down other 1591s. And I'm going to take full advantage of that hyperextension, even though I can just squeak past that presser foot without applying the hyperextension. So I'm going to skip the hyperextension and just go with the natural clearance of that presser foot. Alright, here we go. Again, we're talking 14 layers of canvas binding tape. You know what, if you could see my foot and how little I'm applying the foot control as far as power, and how much power is left in reserve, you would be shocked. I mean, especially considering we just went through what is the equivalent of a small phone book, 14 layers of this stuff. And not only that, but the proof is in the pudding. Look at that stitch quality, the spacing, the formation, the integrity of that stitch is as good as it gets. And as I turn it to the side again, I hope the camera is super duper tight. Look at that. I mean, that is unbelievably thick, ridiculously thick. And yet remember back to how easy we just went through it. And you know what? The ultimate proof of a machine that has been serviced properly and has a reserve of power is that lock-in stitch. And you know what? It just doesn't get any better than that. You can see with your own eyes, everything about that lock-in is just absolutely picture perfect. You know what? The proof is in the pudding when it comes to heavy-duty sewing. And this 1591 that I serviced doesn't do heavy duty, it does unbelievably heavy-duty sewing.